Already 30 people in the session. That's nice. Okay, it's 1 minute past 11 CET here in the Netherlands. So I suggest that we start. Are we all set? The rest of the team? Okay, good to go.
Yes.
I'd like to welcome you again on the quarterly update session. In this session, we would like to update you on some new features that were implemented on Google Workspace for the last quarter. Of course, they're not all, but when you've subscribed to the newsletter and to the session, you will also receive an email with much more updates and also, of course, the overview of this session. We're with a team here. Click to the next slide. And there's a large team here, and I see I didn't add Brecht to this slide yet, but also Brecht is in the call. With a large European team that handles CSS on a European level, and together we prepare this session and share our insights. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. And the best way forward is to contact your contact person in your country, of course, or in your region, and we can always help you. We have 3 streams basically that we would like to cover. First is communication, all the new updates, or not all, a lot of new updates on the communication side. Some updates on the collaboration side, and the last part is the admin side. And for people who have joined the last time, we might have added some more updates this time, because I think there are quite some nice things to share. I will kick off the session with communication tools, and then my colleagues will take it over. And of course, I think it's okay if you use the chat if you have any questions, and on the end of the session, maybe we can answer some things. Okay, we're going to start with the new integrated email marketing tool. I think that's a real nice feature. And how I always explain this feature is Google is, of course, an application with a Google Workspace is an application suite with a lot of applications, and what Google often offers is a very easy to use solution, and it can be used for all kinds of things. And this new marketing tool is, I think, really nice. I don't think it's a real professional marketing tool. So if you work for a large company, you probably have a marketing application that can send emails, but especially for maybe smaller emails or for smaller companies, or maybe departmental emails, something like that, newsletters. Google created a new nice feature. You can see some new features. It offers basically 2 features. First is layout, so you can really create a nice layout in an email, easily change pictures, change some titles, and it looks really professional. And the next one is multi-send. And this allows you to send mass emails without that you need to add everyone to the BCC screen. It also prevents possible mistakes. And as you can see, it looks a bit different. It's a little bit purple, but you can now easily send a professional email. And I think what's also nice, it also automatically adds an unsubscribe button. So you can unsubscribe from the mailing list. So that's also a nice feature. And any update from my colleagues about this feature, or did I cover everything? Okay, let's continue then to the next one. Yeah, it's a small one, but with in a Google context, it's a small update. You might see the new button when you open it now. When you look at your profile picture, you can easily share that. I think that's really nice that you can easily share your details with someone else. And this allows you to stay connected within the company. It's really an easy link that you can share, and that connects directly to your profile. It's real easy, but that allows you to communicate much more efficient. It's a nice one, a small one, but nice. Next one is a bigger one. That's about currents. And Pablo, you would like to tell some more information about this update.
Perfect. Actually, I'm going to ask the audience for a question. Now, use your hand up at the bottom. There's a little hand icon. Don't unmute, don't chat. Just use the hand icon if you currently use spaces current, or what was known as Google Plus in your environment. So we've got one, got to be more than one. Come on, oh, there we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we've got a fair few. Okay, so you guys, so you can put your hands down now. Thank you very much. So we've got about 6 of them. So this is going to definitely affect you guys. We have a rough date, so Google hasn't committed an exact date, of a migration from Google Currents to Spaces. Google Currents is going to be closed down. And with that, they want to migrate all the content from Currents into Spaces. So you'll have, each community will be a room, and as you can see on the image there, you'll transition into a space. So you'll have posts will be a thread, and then comments will be a message in that thread in the space. And there's a really important part here. So if your environment is old enough to have been in the Google Plus days, then what you'll need, and you want to keep that Google Plus content, you'll need to extract that and download it. So there's an option to do that before July 2020. Sorry, before July 2023, apologies, I'm reading the wrong bit. So before June 30th, 2023, apologies. So any data older than July 2020 needs to be extracted before June the 30th, 2023. That data won't be migrated, but you can extract it, okay? So that's important there. There are some caveats here as well. So certain things won't migrate. So there'll be things like corporate global announcements in Currents won't be migrated. Videos won't be migrated, but you can download them, things like that. So definitely something that, you know, if you have a lot of activity on there, reach out to us so we can make sure we can do a bit of change management and help you with the transition. There's a few things to note, like before the date of migration, Currents will close, so users can't use Currents, and then it'll be migrated into Spaces. Lots of things like that happening. So this is just very high level to give you guys a date and an understanding of what's happening. Should you need more information, maybe some change, some comms, please do reach out to your CSS manager or your point of contact, and we can help with that transition for sure. But the date is now June 2023. Make sure that way before that you have a battle plan, a communication plan, things like that. Okay, there's no opt-out. It's a big bang. It's all or nothing. So that's not an optional change. Okay, great. And anyone in the team want to add anything to that?
No, I think it's really clear, Pablo, at least from my side.
Then I'll hand back to you, Walter. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Then we move on to Meet. And of course, since COVID, Google has announced a lot of Google Meet features, and it still, on a monthly basis, implements a lot of features. So here are some nice things that have been implemented. Improved quality and performance for Google Meet effects on the web. As you can see on the picture below, you can see some better performance there. Also on the Google Meet hardware devices, also there's a new enhancement on the Frame People feature. There's a button now on the screen that you can push if you have a touchscreen device connected, of course, with Frame People, and that allows you to easily work with to zoom in on people, and it makes the meetings run much better. I think that's especially useful for larger meeting rooms that we see sometimes. And in the past, you would have a huge meeting room and you wouldn't identify the person that was speaking, and you couldn't identify the meeting room or the audience itself. So that's also a nice one. Then there's a change in the noise reduction. Once there's a lot of noise coming from you, you can also see it in the blue icon when you see your picture, and you can see now that background noise is removed. In this case, I'm happy it isn't happening with me because they're digging outside of my house, but apparently that noise is not audible because otherwise I would have seen it. Where I use it a lot for is sometimes I see that background noise is being filtered out from my profile, and then I mute myself because I know I'm causing some noise. So that's also really useful. Other thing is that Meet artifacts, and you can think of recordings, for instance, documents, all kinds of things that are attached to a meeting. Usually only the organizer of a meeting would have that information after a call. But now you can also you could already assign co-hosts, and now you can also check a box, and also these people would receive these artifacts. So I think it's a nice and simple thing, but it does irritate me sometimes. Whenever we have a recording, like for this session, and normally only the owner sees that recording, and that's sometimes annoying. So you can change that now, and that makes it a lot easier. I think the next one, Paolo is really enthusiastic about the next feature because he's using it quite a lot. And maybe you can demo it even, Pablo, because I think it's really easy for you to demo now. Do I surprise you now?
The push to talk or the USB?
Yeah, the push to talk. Yeah.
Push to talk's great. Yeah. So I think that both of them are really great, actually, those next two. Push to talk, if you mute, and you guys should, well, don't do this now, actually, because everyone's going to unmute, but while you're muted, you can tap the space bar and it will unmute. And if it's not working, make sure it's enabled in the settings. But push to talk means that when you're muted or while you're muted, you can tap the space bar to unmute and speak, and then you can let go and be quiet again. But the USB peripherals, I think that's a really good one. So there's lots of USB hardware and headsets with a hardware mute, and there's that awkward moment when you've done the hardware mute, but you've not unmuted the meet, and then you're struggling and looking like an idiot because you're trying to unmute things. So actually, if you go into the settings, you'll see that you can do what's called a call control. And in there, you can add your USB device. Not all devices are supported, but most are. My headset is, for example. So if you use the hardware mute, it also unmutes Meet. Great if you're a fan of using hardware mute or buttons. So that's a very good one as well. I can imagine people are trying it now. Please don't try it in here in case you start making noises. Back to you, Walter.
Yeah, thank you. Last one is Google Meet is now available. You can connect it to streams live to YouTube. Although we weren't using it today, we could have done that basically. But I think it's a really nice feature that you can find in your settings so that you can directly stream it to YouTube. I think that's a much requested feature because it can be used for company events or public events or all kinds of events. And of course, you can limit the people that can watch it on YouTube. But I think this is also a really nice new feature. Okay, that covers the new Meet features. As we can see for the last, I think, 2 years, every quarter, a lot of new Meet features are implemented, and I don't think this will stop. Okay, then we move on to Google Calendar. And Ray, do you want me to stop sharing or?
No, you can still share. I am not going to demo anything. It's just more or less like just to mention that you're probably used to, like, whenever you RSVP a calendar event, you can choose either yes or no. And when you do yes, it's either you can choose between working from home or like from the office. But now there's a third option that actually is making it automatically. So it's set up like it looks in your calendar. First of all, like, okay, if you've put on in a location that you're working from the office, then it's going to say, yes, I'm joining from in a meeting room. And it also scans if there are any rooms in that calendar event. It will then automatically says, yes, you will join from a meeting room because there's a meeting room invited as well, as you can see in the picture. So yeah. Nothing more with that feature, actually. It's just like another way of where Google uses their AI and helps you actually automate your working process, basically.
Yeah, it makes life more efficient, and that's what
yes.
we see a lot. That's
what we want to save some time.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, some Google Chat updates. I think we've already explained a lot, or Pablo did, about currents being phased out, and of course, because currents is not available anymore, Google implements a lot of feature in Google Chat, and so in Google Spaces as well. So we also, for a couple of quarters in a row, we see a lot of new features being implemented to Google Chat. That's in the past already space managers were added. I think that was last quarter. And now what a new feature is that you can now change access to new and existing spaces in Google Chat. I think that's nice. If you have an existing space, you can also change access to that one. Another one is upcoming. That's about deleting spaces. I think that's also an important one, but I will say that in a minute. Also, data loss prevention to Google Chat is now available in open beta. I think it makes real sense that this feature is implemented, because we see a lot of customers that have DLP rules for email, for instance. So you can't, for instance, send specific information, for instance, credit card information or information about a specific project. You can't email this data, but you would be able to chat this information, and then that wouldn't make it really safe. So there's now an open beta, so for everyone to use, to also apply rules for Google Chat now. And I've seen the demo. You can just select the rules, and if a person, for instance, would share credit card information, they would get a blocking message, and that information can't be shared. So I think that's also a really nice and safe one. And from the admin panel, you can see there's a better visualization of user metrics. You see a nice graph now. As you can also analyze the behavior of your employees in a better way, and maybe change the communication around it accordingly. As mentioned, I'm really happy that chat spaces can also be deleted. What is important to know there is that if you have tasks in there, that they will also be deleted. And also, if there are files maybe uploaded from your computer in that space, they will also be deleted. And so that's really important. Of course, when you add a link to a file, that's usually stored in a shared drive or in a My Drive, so that will not have an effect. But real uploaded files and tasks will be gone then. And what I really like is sometimes I'm looking for information and I don't know if I, for instance, chatted Brecht or Pablo, or send them an email or whatsoever, and now I can easily search for chat spaces inside my Gmail. And that makes searching for information sometimes a lot easier, because we have a lot of means to communicate, and sometimes I forgot what the mean was that I used in the past. And so searching is a feature that I use a lot in this case. Then we move on to collaboration, and also a nice feature that was implemented, and that's one I would like to demo. I've prepared it. You can assign tasks in a Google Doc, and that's also connected to your task list. So let me show you. I should be able to take some minutes to put on the session here. I've created a document, an easy document, and what I did here in the past, I used a feature that I really liked that was implemented in the last quarter. I always make meeting notes, and I can assign it to a calendar event. So that's what I'm doing here. And I can make my notes. Test 1, 2, 3. Webinar Q3. Q3, and then I can assign action items. And when I do that, I can say, okay, draft email to company, for instance, and then you already see the icon here appearing, assign as a task. So I can now assign it to, for instance, Brecht. Here we go. I can assign a date if needed. I can create another task, send email, and in this case, I will assign it to myself. And this makes it really easy for notes during emails. And when I go to my tasks bar on the right side, you can also see that the send email task was created. And it all links together, as it always does in Google Workspace. So I can check it here. And as you can see, it will also sync to my document again. And it works also the other way around. So I think that's really nice. It's a real nice update. So in Google Docs, Google really added a lot of new features, a lot of new smart features with building blocks, as it's called. Email drafts, well, a lot of things are there now. Okay, next one, Iraine.
Yes, and you can actually stop sharing your screen, so I can share my screen.
Sure.
Because I want to demo it as well a little bit. Let me just see entire screen. Let's see if we have everything. So it just takes some time. There we go, and I'll jump into the slideshow as well. So let's continue actually from a Google Doc, and this is actually a really welcome feature, especially for me. You might have seen the notification settings that you can put on a Google Sheet. That is now also available in a Google document. So you can now get email notifications in a Google document. And let me just jump out from the presentation, go to a empty document. And if you click on Tools, you will now see the notification settings here. And you can see it's like a new button here as well. So just click on notification settings, and from here you can actually custom what kind of like notifications you want to. So all comments and tasks, that is something we are already familiar with. You know, as soon as someone comments you or assign you something, you can email notification, or you can just turn it off and have none. And now you can also use from edits. So whenever a content has been added or removed, you will get an email notification, or you can just turn it off so you don't get the notification. This is really good to have added or removed content if this is a really like sensitive document, not going to be so much changes, so you won't be bombarded with a lot of email notifications. But yeah, a most welcome feature, I would say. Any colleagues of mine who want to add in something from this? Nice.
No, I think it's really clear. It's also a feature that like sometimes I don't know if colleagues added some data. Hey, now you can just subscribe to a document. I think that's a really nice feature as well.
A really most welcome feature. And then let's go back to the presentation to show the next thing. And I know a lot of like companies have been battling like how do we actually, when it comes to collaborate, how do we collaborate with external people, and you know, can't force everyone having Google Workspace. So how do we do when we have shared drives and we want to collaborate a lot with a non-Google user? More specific, they don't have a private Gmail account or a work account. So now you can actually create a shared drive, and you can now act. So whenever you do share the folder in that shared drive, the non-Google users can now upload, and yeah, they can upload documents as well now. So that's a most welcome feature. So let's actually go into a shared drive that I have here already created, test folder 1, right click and click on share. So I just want to show you guys how it looks like. So when it's a non-Google user, you have to put them as contributor. So content manager is always the people that has a Google within your domain. So since this is a Microsoft user, it's going to be a contributor. I click on send. Just a warning, heads up, do you want to share with someone outside of your domain? So now that I've given access to a Microsoft user, let's go to Outlook. And you can see it's already here in my email. Just click on the email, click on open. Now I did some testing before, but so this is not a new folder. But if this is a first-time folder you're getting for this week, then you're also getting a PIN code. You need to access a PIN code. That PIN code will be shown in your inbox as well. But now, as you can see, there's nothing here. But I can see this new button here. So I can actually click here, create a new folder, upload some documents flawlessly, and I don't even need to have a Google account.
Yeah, and you can also create documents, which is
exactly. So a Google Docs, for example.
Yeah, and I think this is a much requested feature, and it makes it much easier to collaborate with people that are not using Google Workspace.
Exactly. So now you don't need like to hunt down like licensing and stuff like that. If you're going to work with someone, like let's say you're using a third-party contract or something. Now, if they have things in their laptop, then you just use this It will work flawlessly. And as you can see, this is a Google document. So the person who has a Microsoft account, just to double check and see here, and we can see Microsoft, they have full, I'm not going to say full, but yeah, I think it's also full functionality. So they can use all the functions that is in Google Documents. For example, what Walter just showed us, the add button here, email drafting, the building blocks and everything here. So also really, really, really nice and welcomed feature to improve the collaboration between two companies or contractors without like having the hassle around by providing licenses or laptops or etc. Any one of my colleagues want to add something regarding this?
No, for me it was really clear. Right. Thank you.
Great. Then back to you, Walter.
Yeah, shall I share my screen again? Yes.
Yeah.
Here we go. Going back to the slide deck again. Can you see me? Yeah, I think it's still loading. Okay. Yeah, it's loaded, so I can continue. Yeah, a new feature within Google Sheets, Brecht.
Yes. So one cool thing that is coming is named functions. So I'll take over the screen and I can show you a small demo of how it actually looks. So named formulas, to me, I'm a little bit of a sheet whiz where I type a lot of ifs and I'll combine a lot of formulas, and then your sheet can get like really cluttered where you have to copy a formula 2-3 times. With named functions, you are actually able to write your own formula. So relevant is not really a formula that exists in Google Sheets. So if we go here in, and now I just need to check, it's in data, you have named functions. And here I've created my own function relevant, where I have a static value, that's the mobile, and the range, where I try to see if if the value that I put in, if it's actually relevant. And here you can see then the formula that I put in, that I do a VLOOKUP and see does the word Devoteam appear here, yes or no, and if it appears, then it's relevant. If it's not, then it's not relevant. So this way you can really condense your cluttered formulas into something really simple and reusable across your sheets. So that's really cool into keeping your sheets nice and tidy.
Yeah, I think Brecht, that's also nice that you can use it also cross sheets. If you created one, you can also use it for another sheet. I think that's also really powerful.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let me represent again.
I'm not sure if they can be shared.
Named functions can be shared.
I'm not sure if they can be shared, but we can look this up. They're actually also really easily recreated. So in worst case, you can have like a page of all the formulas, and then you can recreate them. But I'll take a look if you can share them directly. Yeah.
Okay. Then we go to the text side again, Brecht.
Yes. So the next thing is Sync Apple Dep and Google Mobile Device Management Server on demand. What does it actually mean? It's that syncs usually happened on a cycle for iOS devices, and now you are actually able to directly synchronize mobile settings on iOS to your device. So on demand, you can just say, okay, now the device needs to be synchronized. Just to be sure. Go ahead, Pablo, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to add, the reason this is now in play is because if you've added a load of devices, you don't have to sit around and wait for them to appear. Now you can add the devices, go to the admin console, force the sync, and get going with what you need to do. And that's a huge benefit for any mobile device managers out there. Will know the pain of having to wait and come back and check and then do it again. So a big win for mobile device managers for sure.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Yes, and the next one is the trust rules. So within Google Workspace, and I'll just share my screen for a moment so you can see it in the admin console. There's a new beta which is appearing under rules. So in your admin console, you have your section rules here, and here you have collaborate security, use trust rules to help your users collaborate security. So basically what these trust rules are is that you can say that certain users are allowed to work together or not allowed to work together. And work together means that I'm able to say that you are allowed to share or not. I'll just log back in. So a trust rule, much like a DLP rule, right, where you say, okay, let's call this one test 2, where you define a group of users which are either in an organizational unit or within a group. So let's say I take this organizational unit and I take everybody in our Beyond Corp organizational unit, for example, right? If they want to share, or if they are asked to share, so when they're receiving or they're sending out sharing things, then we can say, okay, this is the trigger where it happens, similar like with a DLP, where you have if a file gets created. Here it's like when something is shared specifically with the party you're sharing to, or with the party you're receiving it from. This can be specific users, groups, organizational units, or even that you say anyone with a Google account. So in this sense, for everybody in the Beyond Corp test, for example, I will put in if you're sharing anything with a Google account, including visitors, then we are going to say, look, we will allow it, but you will get a warning if you're sharing with these people. And this can, of course, be set up internally and externally. So that's really what's currently in the beta, and I'm not sure if you can sign up for it, or it's it's a closed beta. So if you want to participate in this beta, then you can subscribe yourself to the beta through the blog link that'll be in the slide. Okay.
Next one is also for you, but maybe I don't think there's a demo connected to that one, Brecht. That's the. Let me reshare my screen again. I think that's
it's the mail quarantines, I think.
It's coming now. BigQuery.
Yes. So the way that BigQuery works with the Gmail logs is changing a little bit. So it's going, instead of exporting the Gmail logs through the Gmail logs BigQuery connection, they're going to be integrating it with the Google Workspace logs and reports in BigQuery. So if you are importing your Gmail logs into BigQuery, then your information will be merged.
Yeah, and I think so. You have one source of the truth, so it makes it much easier. And I think in the beginning there's a combination until all features have been implemented.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then the next one is the mail quarantines. This is a small change, but I think still a welcome one for the people who've been using quarantines. That is that your user interface of quarantines is no longer being in the separate mail quarantines window. It's going to have its own user interface in the admin console, but the functionality of the mail quarantines will actually stay the same. So you'll have a mail in a quarantine, and you'll be able to allow or deny it this time through the admin console, so you don't have to swap between the two. It's gradually rolling out. So it should be done with rolling out by the end of this month, because on some domains that I see, I haven't had it yet. So
yeah, we see that more often, of course, and it takes some time to roll out.
Yes.
Hey, Pablo.
Okay, so this one's an interesting one and a little bit hard to get your head around. So it's to do with Android for Work. So if you have Android for Work, which sandboxes your phone into two separate sections, so you've got your personal section and your work section, one of the annoyances we've found is the calendar. So for example, if you're out and about and you want to look if you've got some time to do something during the day, you're going to go into your work profile, open the calendar, have a look and see, make sure you have no meetings. But then also you might want to go and check your personal one, make sure you don't have a doctor's appointment or something at that time. So you actually literally have to switch between the two different work apps and personal apps to see your calendar availability. With this new option, it actually allows admins to enable the personal calendar from the personal side of the phone to appear as visible in the work side of the phone with an option, which I think is actually a great way forward if you think about usability and you know, calendar as a whole. It's a great option. It's by default off, so you do need to turn it on, but I think it's actually a great option if you have Android for work.
Yes, I agree. It makes life a lot easier for people with work phones, I guess. Okay, I think that wraps it up. Yeah, I think this concludes our session for today. I don't know, Brecht, if you already found the answer to your question.
Yes, I did. I just posted it in the chat. So there are multiple options, like Pablo said, where you create one sheet with all your functions and you say to your users, use this one if you want to use the formulas that we already have. Or you can use that one sheet that you created in Pablo's answer and just import it into your relevant sheets. That's also possible. I've posted the help article about creating and importing functions for this in the chat. So.
Okay. Any other questions or comments or feedback?
Great.
Okay. As usual, you will receive the email and with a lot more new implemented features. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.
Thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.